Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today I want to talk about all about my favorite little programming shortcuts in LightKey. So this month, if you're watching here on the channel on Learn Stage Lighting, which if you're not, please subscribe. But if you are watching on the channel here, we're going through all my favorite consoles, talking about the different features and the shortcuts and the little tips and tricks that I really like to use to make great shows. And in this one, we want to talk about some slightly more advanced, I guess you could say, tips available in LightKey. So LightKey, for those who aren't familiar, is a Mac-based software. And I would say a couple things as we talk about it, and in the next video we'll talk about new features for this year. I call it the new Vista. Okay, so there was a console in software called Jan's Vista. It's still around. It's run by a company named ChromaQ, but in its early days, it really took the church world by storm, especially, and it was really unique and interesting software. Unfortunately, things just didn't go the way that I love with it, and today it really isn't something I recommend for a couple reasons that we can go into in the next video. But here, I want to talk about LightKey. So LightKey is kind of like the new Vista, because it's visual and it's like lighting control for Mac people, and for small to intermediate size shows, as long as you can swing the budget for LightKey, because like anything Mac, it's, you know, a little more expensive than others. It is a really great option. And if you do buy, please do buy through my link. It gets me a small commission without charging you anything else. So LightKey shortcuts. If you haven't used LightKey before, one of the simplest shortcuts is, if you are clicking on anything, there's a shortcuts window right here, okay, that comes down in the bottom right-hand corner, and I can literally press, Shift D, and now I'm controlling the level of the dimmer. And so I hit Shift D, and now I can hit a value 0 through 9, okay, or I can use my arrows to increase it by tens. And this works with any attribute. I can hit Escape then and go back. Really cool. But LightKey can do a lot more. If you have a Mac with that cool trackbar thing, what do they call that? I'm so not a Mac user, but if you have that cool bar thing at the bottom of your laptop, that's used in LightKey as well. But one of the things that you might not think of, besides, I mean, these are all cool, being able to select lights and just hit some quick key combos. Let's stop there for a second. That's really cool, because what I like about LightKey is it's a PC software, or Mac, but it's a computer software that's not trying to be a real console, right? Most of the time, if you look at other software that comes from consoles, the PC experience is a little bit lesser, right? It's just not quite as fluid as if you were on a full console. And, as we go through, things are getting improved. I showed you a couple weeks ago some new features in Onyx that make it easier to use on a PC, but it's still there. On the PC, it's still not quite as optimized as on a console. So with LightKey, it's designed for the PC, well, Mac only, and they've really done a good job designing it for that. Okay, just with the way it uses, let's just take, for example, say I grab this one strip light. Okay, we're gonna turn it on, we're gonna make it a color, and then I can get into, I think it's in a mode where I can get it into more colors. No, it's not. It's just in a simple 6-channel mode. Never mind. But either way, I can go in here and copy dimmer or color, one or both. And the cool thing about that is, I could just go, and I think it comes to Apple C as well. We're about to find out. I am not on an Apple keyboard, and so that might be the source of my problems. But I can copy the properties, and then say I select, a gaggle of other lights. I can then paste them, right? What I want to do is get all these strip lights. There we go. And then you can go in and you can paste your properties. But it doesn't stop there. So LightKey does a really good job if you're copying and pasting properties with being really cross-dimensional. Like, it doesn't have to be the same kind of light to copy and paste the properties. The attributes are universal. And so I could just go in and I can paste the properties here. And now this moving light that is not the same light as those strip lights, it still totally works. And I love that about LightKey. I have other videos about what I love and don't love, but that's a programming shortcut that I like to use in LightKey. And last but not least, let me think about my next great shortcut. Last but not least, I would say, though, LightKey is very intuitive, very Mac-like, it definitely has its size limits, and that's where you run into things. And so using the side here, the preset palettes as they call them, what you want to do in there, this isn't really a shortcut as much as just a programming tip, is you really want to make sure you stay really well organized in that section. Because ultimately, this is what you apply to your different lights. And if you try to apply these to lights that are not within that same type, it's just not going to work, unfortunately. And so that's something that's important to know as well. Let's check that super quick. Yeah, that still works the same way as it did before. They didn't change it. Okay, so LightKey, at a glance, cool little software. If you are Mac-based and you're looking for kind of an intermediate level software and you don't mind a subscription cost, then LightKey could definitely be the one for you. So if you liked this, get ready for our next video a little later this week. We're going to dive in and show you the new features in LightKey and how they apply to you. Look over the new features from the past year, approximately. We'll talk about why, and show you how to use them to make your programming life easier, better, and your shows or services more awesome. We'll see you guys there. Thanks.